Good afternoon. My name is Sun, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the CA Capacity Management Community Webcast. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. Ms. Kathy Hickey, VP of Product Management, you may begin your conference.
Great, thank you very much, and thanks to everyone for joining today. We really appreciate you taking the time. We're very excited to share some upcoming feature functionality we plan to release with the CA Capacity Management solution. And so there's been a heavy focus from a product management, from a product team's perspective and from a development perspective to focus in on analytics and visualization of those analytics and the way in new and innovative ways in which users of CA Capacity Management can consume the results of the capacity analytics that have been performed on the data. So what we're looking to show you today is kind of a sneak peek of our new dashboards, new interesting, we call it the 4-way dashboards, which really in a single intuitive view with drill down capabilities provides you the ability to answer those 4 universal questions that are always asked of folks within IT organizations performing capacity management type functions. And then as well, and I'm joined today by Jeremy Rosbach and Kip Lamb, colleagues here focusing in on the capacity management solution. Kip will provide you with a demo of the dashboards, and then he'll also go into kind of a deeper technical topic enabling drill down in the UMP-based dashboards as well. So to set the stage for this, I'd like to just take the step back and focus in to provide context for the demo. The 4 universal questions that IT asks themselves, which really is taking the step back. So what is the problem? So IT, folks within IT organizations, whether you're responsible for network or storage or compute or database, the overarching question is, what is the problem that I need to address? And how bad is that problem? How impacting is that problem? Is it impacting mission critical business services that I'm delivering to my end users now? Or when do I need to fix the problem? Meaning it will become a problem versus something that's a problem right now. So when do I need to fix the problem is the next question, which we all recognize that within IT organizations there's far more work to do than we actually have people to do that, which means that you need insight into understanding the prioritization of the work that you should be tackling. And not only understanding, is there a problem or will there be a problem, how bad is that problem, but when do I need to fix that problem, or when do I need to address that particular issue so it doesn't become a problem that impacts my mission critical business services. And then finally, great, now that I've determined that there is a problem now or an upcoming problem, and I know when I need to fix it, how do I fix the problem? What do I need to do to address that particular issue that's taking place now or we're predicting will be taking place at some point within the future? So keeping those 4 questions in mind in the context, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand this over to Kip Lamb, who's actually going to give you a demonstration of the new 4-way dashboard that's coming out in an upcoming release in our 2.9.1 release.
All right, thanks, Kathy. I'm going to bring this up here. Okay. So we took a look at the, as Kathy was showing us, the 4 questions that IT gets asked of themselves is, what's the problem? So to help with that, we have a capacity analytics overview dashboard that gives you an insight into do you have problems, and what are the problems? So we can see up here at the top, we have a risk overview for our CPU, memory, and storage for an inventory of 873 servers that we have analyzed in our all servers group. So within this view, we can select from different groups or service groups that we, as we like to call them now. And once you have a different service group selected, you can then select how much historical data to use, how far in the future to look, which metric to use in the analysis, and then optionally, we can provide a growth rate. So from this one page right here, I can see for all my systems in a service, whether that be physical or virtual machines. So this is showing for physicals and virtuals in here. What are the systems at risk now, but also potentially in the future where I have systems at risk? And that's for, again, CPU, memory, and storage right now, but potentially we can add additional metrics into these analytics and use them, basically anything we can apply a threshold to, we can include in the regression analytics and calculate not only the trends, but also how are things performing versus thresholds and set thresholds on various things. So, and you notice from here we can also drill down on systems, which is something we're going to take a look at more in a moment. So now that I've understood what is the problem, right, I can start moving in and saying, you know, how bad is the problem here, and by taking a more detailed look at my trends. So I have some idea for my forecast here that I've added in on how I'm looking out in the future, but if I drill down on my trends, which I have open right here, so now I'm on my trend section, and I can get an overview of how my systems are performing, you know, looking out for the next, in this case, we're going out 18 or 12 months here. And we can see for CPU how many, the projected utilization for our systems for CPU, for memory, as well as for storage. Just scroll over here a little bit. You can see this, guys, the storage over here. So we can see here how many systems are potentially going to be over our threshold. So you get an idea at a group level how bad is the problem. And then down here we have each individual machine and their trends. So we can see for this virtual machine, it's already exceeded its utilization threshold here, and that we have, again, on the tooltip mouse overs, you can see what that actual value is for the utilization, as well as you can see what the trend is on the tooltip to see the current utilization for the different metrics we have. So average, you know, the different statistical, descriptive statistics we have, the average, the 95th percentile, and the maximum and the trend value for this guy. So it gives you a little more idea of when we show that 127% utilized, what value exactly are you looking at there? Gives you the ability to add more context. So when a user sees a number, says, oh, it's memory utilization or CPU utilization, I want to know more about that. When they mouse over, those tooltips will give them that information. And with that, you can, again, start gaining insight into how bad a problem is potentially. Now, there's also things you can do like adding in optional growth rates and see how that could potentially change the outcome of your trend forecast. And we're going to look at that a bit more over in our next section, because we're also going to start looking at, so we understand, what is the problem. We've looked at how bad is the problem at our trends here. And now from here we can start getting an idea of potentially when would I need to fix a problem. But we can get more inside of that in our projection section. So let's pop over here, and now we're in projections. And this is what you might be familiar with or seen some before of the what we call automated modeling or CCR modeling built out in the UMP platform, where again, you select the group that you want to analyze, and then we're going to add in growth rates to see when we might potentially be hitting a bottleneck. In this case, we're looking out over the next 12 months. So this is recalculating the model here for us. Again, you get a utilization summary for CPU, memory, and storage on things that are exceeding now. That'll tell you it's already exceeded in current state, or if it will, when will it be a risk. So this tells you current state and at the end of the forecast and the status here. So you can see at the beginning of the forecast we're here, at the end of the forecast we'll be here, and you can see in the playback when that is going to take effect here. The other thing that we have is a confidence value. So what's this confidence value mean? Well, the confidence value is giving us an idea of data completeness. So if we have an incomplete data set for our historical range that we brought in, so we're looking at the past year, this is telling us that we have data for that past year for this machine. So that's why the confidence here is set to 100%. So this, again, gives you the ability to quickly go in and see the impact of different growth rates. So again, as we change our growth rates and the amount of historical data, and maybe we'll go back and use the past month's worth of data. We can select how far in the future we want to move out. We can go, in this case, up to 18 months, but again, that can be configured as needed. And then which metric to use. So again, this goes off of the descriptive statistics for the metrics that we bring in to show you want to use 90, 95th average or maximum in the calculation, and then what growth rate would you like to have applied on there. And with that, we can start to get an idea for when would I need to fix the problem, because it's telling you here, it's exceeded now, you need to fix it now, or if it will exceed in 1, 2, or however many months you have to address that particular resources constraint. So from here, we've understood when I need to fix the problem. So now we can go in and start taking a look at recommendations, which is going to get us to how should I fix the problem. So if just pop over here, we're now in the recommendations section. And again, we selected a group here in historical data and metric to use. So you just again select your context selectors, and that will filter down the report for you. So in this case, we're looking at 873 VMs, and of those, 556 are recommended for a change. And then we get a summary of this resizing or optimization that would tell you that if you were to implement this, you could pull back 465 vCPUs, about 2.7 terabytes of RAM, and 260 gigabytes of storage. And this is based off, again, that risk and waste analysis of how is the system historically performing versus what has been allocated. And we get a summary again of the recommendation details. So we have the summary at the top again here, and then at the bottom we have the details. So each VM, it gives the action. So we need to go from 1 vCPU to 2, and then it gives a before and after utilization. And the CPU calculation is using our resource score in the background. So you're getting accurate recommendations in terms of what the utilization would be in resource score terms. So it would be using about 50% of the capacity after the resize. It'll also tell you if you need to reduce or add memory and storage. So actions TBD, it doesn't have a decision on that, so it'll also let you know on those things. We can drill down on here. Notice that these are hyperlinks in this column here. And when I click on this, it takes me to a new page, and it's for that virtual machine that I clicked on, and it's brought in the historical summary for this machine. And this is if we looked at no change. I can go in and say I want to bump this up to 2 vCPUs. And now my replay down here, I can see the impact of making different changes on my system here. So the replay here is showing us the current utilization for our CPU and memory. And then if we were to go in here, we can set constraints or add in optional analysis to look at, if we were to increase memory or increase our virtual CPUs. I should refresh here. There we go. So here is the optimized CPU utilization in the new configuration. So we were running over utilization, which is that's just a weirdness of VMware accounting practices. But the optimized utilization after our new configuration would be running right around a little over 26% on this replay. So on that drill down, we were able to go in and see a replay and then try different options on how to fix the problem. So what we've seen here is the ability to take a look at an overview of our systems to, again, understand what is the problem. And from there, we looked at our capacity analytics overview. That gave us insight into what is the problem. To answer how bad the problem is, we looked at our capacity analytics trends, and we were able to get insight into what resources were at risk, which ones were at risk. And then for the when do I need to fix the problem, we looked at capacity analytics projections, where we can go in and play different what-if scenarios with the data to see when we might have a potential issue, resource constraint, when the first bottleneck is going to be encountered, and when we might need to add resources to a system based upon a forecast growth. And then how do I fix the problem with our capacity analytics recommendations, where we can replay and play back different recommendation scenarios to see the impact of those changes. Okay? So with that, and one of the things that, again, we noticed in here, so this dashboard, if you will, has many advanced dashboarding features shown here that we're going to be covering in different sessions. But one of those features is adding contextual hyperlinks. So this ability here where if I click on this system, it will take me to a drill down page, if you will. So now I've gone down to the host details for this system. And notice up here, if I click back on capacity summary, I can get back to my original page that my original launch page. So for advanced modeling topic today, what we're going to take a look at are adding contextual hyperlinks in reports. So we're going to show links to dashboards and links to URLs, and we'll kind of differentiate what those do. So real quickly, a link to a dashboard, right, because basically we want to turn this into that, right, so where we have a column of results that we want to add a hyperlink to that. And that hyperlink can go to, again, a dashboard or a URL. And it will pass a parameter. And we reference that parameter by its position. So $1 equals column 1. When you're linking dashboards, the dashboard you're linking to needs to have a parameter defined, and the dashboard you're calling from needs to create that parameter and then pass in the position that you want to bring over as a parameter. And a couple of caveats: dashboards will open in the same browser window, and you link back to the previous dashboard with that little widget as I showed you just a moment ago. And when you link to a URL, the link will open up in a new browser window, and the original dashboard will stay open in the background. All right, so what we saw here was a link to another dashboard. And what I want to do now is step into just a simple example here of how we can go through and set this up. So basically I have a table of data here, and again how this table is being rendered is from a data source, and I have just a VM list. And I'll edit this query. This is all the query right here. And it's just selecting everything from my view that has an entity type of virtual machine. So I can test this, and it brings back a list of everything on my virtual machine. So simple enough. I have a list of virtual machines here. Now, I would like to turn this column, the entity name, into a list of hyperlinks where I could drill down and go to a dashboard or even go to a URL. So let's look at how we do this. So in when I click here on the column name, it opens up columns. So it's under the widget properties, columns, and then I select the column that I want to have the link on. Now you can rename these columns if you want. We could call this like VM name. Oops, come on. Browser refreshing. We'll just leave it entity name. But you can rename the columns. You can make them visible or not. So I hid some of the return columns just to show how you can do that, and that's just by turning it visible or not. And then, but what we're interested in today is down here where it says renderer. Right now it's set to text. So I'm going to click this, and notice I have different options here. The option we're going to look at today is link. So I'm going to select link here, and it'll take us a second to kind of think about it, looking at that column over there with the typo header name. All right, and it just turned those into hyperlinks. And right now, it's set to a URL. And I already configured this, but you can, again, go to either a URL or a dashboard. Let's take a look at a dashboard first. So when I say link to a dashboard, I have a list of dashboards that I can link to. So I've linked to a virtual replay dashboard. And again, you can go in and select which dashboard you want to link to. I want to go, this is a list of VMs. I want to look at the VM virtual replay. And I know on this virtual replay page that it has a parameter that it accepts called VM. So I added a parameter here called VM, and value is $1. Now remember, that's positional. So for our column, it's passing a value of $1. Now note, the parameter is linked to the column position. The hyperlink is linked to a column. The hyperlink, I could click on this, but have the value set to, say, $3, and it would pass virtual machine instead of the name that I clicked on. So it passes whatever column position that you have marked in here as a parameter. And you can have multiples and pass multiple parameters. So you could pass VM name and cluster name if you wanted to into this dashboard. So let's take a look at how this works here. So I have my link set to a dashboard, virtual replay dashboard. The parameter is VM, and it's passing value 1, column 1 here. So I'm going to go here and go to live view. And now when I go and click on this VM name here, oh, live view, there we go. So now when I go and click on one of these, it's taken me to this virtual replay page, and notice it passed in, I guess I don't have data for this VM, I just clicked on a random one, but, oh, here it comes. It passed in that VM name. Now, if I go in and again, notice here, I can go back to my page, but just real quick, just to show you what we did here, I'm editing this dashboard. And notice this dashboard has this parameter right here. There's that $VM. And over here on the parameters, it has a parameter, a local parameter called VM. It has a default value, but notice obviously when we piped it in, we have $VM in front of here. That's just for testing purposes, or that's the current value or the testing purposes value. But it will accept a parameter with the name of VM. So when we linked in here, it passed in that VM parameter for us. So now I can click on link test, and it will take me back to my original page. And this will refresh. So that was linking to a dashboard. Now let's go back in here and edit this guy. And let's take a look at what happens when we want to link to a URL. Give a second for my browser to catch up. Too many windows open. All right, so I selected my column again and scroll down here, and now I have, again, it's still a link, but I'm going to set this now to link to a URL. Now, again, I can pass in that VM name as a parameter. So let's say I wanted to link to, I don't know, CCR's VM detail page. Well, down here in my URL, notice I have a link to NPC, which is my CCR URL. And over here at the end where it says in VM equal, I put in $1. So let's go take a look and see what that does. I'm going to go over and go into live view. And now when I click on, notice it opened up a new browser window, and it passed me into CCR. And I'm right on to that VM's detail page for whatever the time range is. So you could put a time range in here potentially in this URL as well. So very powerful, and again, my original page is still here, so that's the caveat there. When you hyperlink, it opens up a new browser window. You can hyperlink to other links within UMP, and obviously, as we just saw, you can hyperlink to other applications and pass that parameter into the URL. All right, so just kind of review here for a moment. We had, what we took a look at was a column where we brought back a table of data that we wanted a column in that to be a URL. So we went into our widget properties for the column, and we set the renderer to be a link, and then we defined what type of link. Is it a URL link or a dashboard link, both of which use parameters that are positional. So we use $1 to represent our first column as what value or we want it to be passed as the parameter. And then we add those to either a URL parameter, or as we saw, we can pass a parameter to another UMP dashboard. And that is the overview of the topics, and we were able to go in and answer our 4 questions, as well as we went in and took a look at some of the ways we build these dashboards, and we're going to be doing more of these as we go along and covering more sessions. So at this time, I'd like to open it up for any questions, if possible.
At this time, in order to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. That's star 1 for a question. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. Again, that is star 1 for an audio question. And there are no audio questions at this time.
Great. Great. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate you spending the time. Kip, thank you very much for the great demonstration. Just to reiterate to everyone here, on the call, so what we demonstrated to you today was some features that we're planning to release in an upcoming release, the 291 release. And again, with the main focus in on really harnessing the true value CA capacity management brings to the table with the rich analytics, and exposing the results of those analytics in new and innovative ways, new and innovative visualization techniques to really enable you through the minimal number of clicks to be able to have the view, again, of what is the problem, how bad is the problem, when do I need to fix the problem, and then also as well, how do I fix the problem? So I think really it's some great work that's been put into this visualization of the rich analytics. So it'll be coming soon. We'll be doing some more webcasts throughout the course of the next couple of months, sharing with you not only some additional information on some of the new dashboards coming out, but also as well some of the other new features planned for the 291 release. So with that, Kip, thank you very much, and thanks everyone for spending the time. Please, if you can, please answer the poll questionnaire to rate today's webcast.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.